I'ma just say it. Before we even get into the video, I'ma just say it. Malevelon Creek wouldn't have been nearly as memorable if it wasn't for pre-patch bots. It's okay if you don't agree with me, but you know what? It's okay to be wrong too. Yeah! Bro. Pre-60-day patch, a beautiful yet tragic era. Arguably a prime of Helldivers 2. The game felt fresh, major orders had impact, the community was active, maybe too active.
I really hate to be the dude that fucks with us. You think?
The game was alive. It wasn't perfect, but it was alive. Of course, we only had two factions at the time. The bugs and the... In the beginning, everyone's favorite tin cans were known for their significant shift in difficulty compared to the bugs. Naturally, enemies will present more of a challenge when they, you know, shoot back. Though the overall design of the bots made them quite alluring, there is a much better explanation as to why I, and many others, loved them so much during this period of the game's life. Pre-patch bots just had that aura. They required strategy, something I genuinely feel was lost on the average meta player. For the meta player, when the loadout failed, it was because the game was just unfair. But for the strategist, failure presented an opportunity to adapt and grow. Maybe the loadout just needed some tweaking. You'll often hear the phrase, "the game has a difficulty slider," in balance discussions. This is usually just a throwaway counter to any kind of criticism, but realistically, it does hold some weight in its concept. The difficulty slider should be viewed not as a slider, but a ladder. You shouldn't expect to be able to dive right into D10, though you can join up a maxed out buddy and do so. You need to climb your way up. Hell, you literally have to complete missions for each difficulty to be able to unlock it on your own ship. You need to have a good baseline to be able to identify your strengths and your weaknesses in battle. My duo and I literally had post-game discussions. We took note of everything that was effective and everything that was not effective. We never upped the difficulty until we were dominating. Sometimes the best thing you can do is admit that you're just not ready. So you could strategically exit the match to start over from the beginning. There is a difference though from starting over from the beginning to try again and then just rage quitting. And you know, man, sometimes shit just happens. It's not always gonna be your fault. In the Second Galactic War, death is inevitable. I mean, it is called Helldivers and not mild discomfort divers. But man, yeah, I can't deny the bots were something else back in the day. Back in the trenches. If a rocket devastator even looked at you, you had like 3 seconds to take cover or straight up kill it, because if you didn't, it was probably wraps for you, buddy. It was just over. And even if it didn't kill you immediately, it knocked you down, you ragdolled, and then a heavy devastator walked up and just unloaded his las gun. And man, words cannot describe the sensation of just seeing the gunships for the first time. Because we dropped in, right? We're ready. We're talking like, yeah, we're gonna do this and that. And then we look up and the sky just lights up with red. And we start running. And I know the gunships, bro, those fuckers were evil, but we were on Chuhei too. And if you remember how Chuhei was back then, oh man, then you know exactly what the fuck we were in for. And you know what? Yeah, it was pretty damn hard, but that was the fulfilling part of it. Beating the odds is so much better than a power fantasy. And look, I love me a good power fantasy, but for Helldivers, I just don't see the appeal. And beating the odds meant you had to strategize. We had this strategy. I ran a heavy machine gun and he ran AMR. So I'm close support and he's range support. I run in and push outposts while he covers my back and clears the way forward. We both got our own supply pack, so we're good on supplies, but then he's got an EMS mortar and smoke screens, while I've got a rocket sentry and Gatling barrage so I can clear out those bot drops. It was perfect. And man, we were doing some serious stealth on the bot front. It was crazy. EMS strikes and smokes are still super underrated in this game. You gotta use them, man. You gotta use what you got. And that kind of leans back into the whole meta thing. The way I've always viewed it and the way I still view it now is that new challenges are always going to challenge the meta. You need to diversify your loadout. You gotta adapt. You can't just change the loadout, you gotta change the playstyle too. But what makes strategy so rewarding against the bots? Well, it's simple. They adapt. They were the most engaging faction, of course, of 2, right? Because they adapted, they changed. We saw the Factory Strider, we saw the gunships, the evil bitch-ass reinforced Striders. It truly felt like they were evolving in order to counter us better. It contributed to that sense of war that I feel is a little lost in the game's current state. But pre-patch, the bots were pure suffering, ragdolling and all, and we bonded in that suffering. The bot divers who were there on the front lines, they know what I'm talking about. But of course, as you know, all good things must come to an end. Arrowhead would go on to bend the knee, changing things on difficulty, making a lot of changes that did need to happen. And I'm not going to rehash any of that. I think this community has had enough of that bullshit. But I will say, man, I just really preferred how the bots were before. There is a very distinct change in just feeling. I miss them, man. I really do miss them. I'll see y'all in the next one. Spill oil.